Hello, my name is Andrew O. Jackson. I created a two-part, eight-chapter video series titled The Personal Power of Qi, A Revolution in Sports Psychology, with the intent that athletes of all levels and abilities, and no matter what their sport, can understand, access, and actualize their evolutionary self of strength, speed, stamina, agility, reflexes, cunning, and success. Part one, chapters 1 through 4, A Revolution in Sports Psychology, are about how good feeling emotions guide cognitive behavior towards a strong and powerful physiology necessary for sports competition. Part two, chapters 5 through 8, The Personal Power of Qi, are how the conscious energy of good feeling cognitive emotional behavior called Qi radiates throughout the quantum universe of the Tao and aligns the rendezvous of people, places, and events through time and space that match an athlete and coach's cognitive emotional state of being, where space is here and when time is now. Chapter 8, All Life is Qigong, the Cultivation of Energy, is about developing an athlete's and coach's language, linguistics, and recognition of their conscious energy called Qi and the quantum universe of the Tao. This is a lecture presentation on how all our life experiences are a cultivation of Qi. Qi and the quantum universe influence effective and successful decision making and its actualization in sports competition. An athlete or coach makes critical and decisive decisions throughout every competition, but how these decisions are actuated in the heat of competition, that is, how the actual events of the competition unfold on the field of play, are dependent on one's own and team's personal power of Qi. Before we begin, I want to reiterate that the terms cognitive and cognition refer to activities and process of awareness and knowing of the mind, such as perceiving, conceiving, remembering, reasoning, judging, imagining, and problem solving, where understanding and comprehension of thoughts, ideas, and beliefs can project future consequences and events. I also want to state that I group emotions, moods, attitudes, and feelings together because they either feel good as an evolved indicator of a healthy biochemical and neurological physiology, or feel bad as an evolved indicator of an unhealthy biochemical and neurological physiology. Does a coach or an athlete have the cognitive emotional awareness to understand that bad feeling emotions, moods, attitudes, and feelings are evolutionary indicators of a disempowering, disabling, and ineffective neurological and biochemical physiology? And does a coach or an athlete have the cognitive emotional awareness to understand that bad feeling emotions, moods, attitudes, and feelings are leading indicators of an unwanted nor desired personal power of Qi that radiates throughout the Tao to align the intersection and rendezvous of people, places, and events that are not wanted, nor desired, nor intended? And then does the athlete or coach have the capacity to reprocess their disempowering, emotionally negative cognitions, especially during the heat of competition on the field of play, into empowering, emotionally positive cognitions that correlate with a healthy biochemical and neurological physiology and the actualization throughout time and space of a superior world-class performance? The mountain exists as it does because we have been taught to believe it so. Every athlete is told that to succeed, they must work hard. They must put in hours and hours of practice. No pain, no gain. To succeed, you must bleed. Chop wood, carry water. The problem is just putting in hours in the gym, hours in the weight room, hours on the practice field does not equate with success. Yes, there are those who succeed and they have put in the hours, but What of those who also put in the hours and do not succeed? And if success means an Olympic gold medal or world championship, then there can be only one person that succeeds. And that success comes from physical work, yes, but hundreds of athletes in the same class have done as much or even more work. The difference that makes a difference is that their state of cognitive emotional being. Coaches everywhere must start looking at their players and themselves from a cognitive emotional state of being. Chapters 1 through 4 explain how a good feeling cognitive emotional state of being has an evolved correlation with an athlete's strength, speed, stamina, agility, reflexes, cunning, and success, and the actualization of a superior world-class performance, and how bad feeling emotions, moods, attitudes, and feelings correlate with their negation. This is the reality of our three-dimensional physical and material worldview. These last chapters, 5 through 8, have explained how a good feeling cognitive emotional state of being correlates with an athlete and coach's successful personal power of Qi in a quantum universe called the Tao. The conscious energy of Qi reaches through time and space, the past and the future, and molds and shapes the amorphous quantum soup of potentialities to match an athlete and coach's cognitive emotional state of being in the present. On the field of competition, who, which team, which player, which coach is manifesting their desire, wanting, and intent? The question, the new mountain is who, which team, which athlete, which coach has trained and put in the hours of practice to understand and realize the significance of their negative, bad feeling, cognitive, emotional state of Qi, and then who has the capacity to reprocess, restructure, and redevelop this negative, bad feeling, cognitive, emotional reality into another positive, good feeling, cognitive, emotional state of being that radiates another reality of success. The hours of practice that must be accounted for are one, those put in to develop an athlete and coach's skills, abilities, and understandings to define and state their desire, wanting, and intent, as well as two, the hours put in to develop their skills, abilities, and understandings to match that intent with positive, good feeling cognitive activities. Success or failure in competition or in life itself is a cognitive emotional state first determined within the battlefield of the mind. The people who continuously find success have an innate or intuitive understanding of their personal power of Qi, their cognitive emotional field in the Tao, and its point of attraction. This presentation is to show that the skills, tools, and understandings for success are not a mystery and can be understood, taught, and learned. How many years and hundreds of hours has an athlete spent developing their physical skills and cognitive knowledge in their sport? And then how many hours have they spent developing their good feeling emotions, moods, attitudes, and feelings that signify health, well-being, and their decision-making prowess and capacity to define and actualize their personal power of Qi? All life is Qigong, the cultivation of energy. Every event in every moment of every day is an opportunity to define one's own intent and to match that intent with good feeling cognitive activities. I have spoken of a cognitive world, a world of objects and linear cause and effect. I talked of emotions and their correlation to an athlete's physiology. I demonstrated a symbiotic psychology of cognitive emotional reprocessing for health, well-being, and effective and successful decision-making. I now want athletes and their coaches to see the world in terms of energy, Qi, and how molding a desire and wanting into a positive, good feeling intention sets up a point of attraction in a quantum universe that orchestrates the rendezvous of people, places, and events that is wanted, desired, and intended. Every one of us has an awareness of maybe not the specifics, but of the general workings of the Tao through their emotional awareness and emotions' correlation to cognitive activities of the mind. All the exercises presented here in this cognitive emotional gymnasium of Chapter 7 are methods for quieting one's focus and fixation within the negative feeling cognitive emotion activities and allowing less negative or even positive feeling cognitive emotional activities to emerge into consciousness awareness. If an athlete learns how to harmonize their cognitive activities with their emotions to feel good, they have the capacity to reach through time and space and attract the necessary ingredients and circumstances for their success, including luck. One's past and future will change to match their cognitive emotional state of being as it exists in each present moment. A master or champion must perfect the physical movement, motion, and action within their sport, along with the good feeling emotion, moods, attitudes, and feelings within that perfect movement, motion, and action. Michaela Schifrin is one of the greatest athletes of all times. She is a World Cup alpine ski racer. She has won more races than any other person, male or female. And what is most remarkable is that she has done it without a major injury. If you watch her interviews, she is constantly mentioning the feeling. She talks about getting the feeling of the race, whether it's the downhill, super G, giant slalom, or slalom, where each requires a different application of a highly technical skills, reflexes, strength, and power, and split-second timing. All of that boils down to attaining and maintaining a feeling in the moment. The slalom race runs about 60 gates in 60 seconds. Each gate has an entrance, rounding, and exit. Each of those moments of time requires a 5-step process of 1, think it, 2, feel it, 3, know you know it, 4, allow it, and 5, it will happen. All those steps for all those gates can be summarized with a feeling. That is your work, to develop the cognitive, emotional good feelings of successful actualization within our quantum world of the Tao. World-class soccer provides a team approach to how a team's collective conscious energy of Qi reaches through time and space, the past and the future, and molds and shapes the amorphous quantum soup of potentialities of the Tao to match an athlete and coach's cognitive emotional state of being in the present. On the field of competition, who, which team, which player, which coach is manifesting their desire, wanting, and intent? Which team and coach has developed their power of Qi? Which team has defined their intent and matched that intent with positive, good feeling cognitive activities? Which players just happen to be in the right place at the right time to create and finish that perfect goal? The work is to find and maintain a good feeling of success before, during, and after a competition. The cognitive emotional field of desire and wanting around a point of attraction is called intent. Think of yourself as a magnet, with its magnetic field flowing throughout the quantum universe, or the Tao, the source of all things, attracting the ingredients expressed by your cognitive emotional state of wanting, desire, and intent. We all want to win, and stating that as your intent may or may not be workable. Can you maintain a positive and healthy, feeling good, cognitive, emotional point of attraction that allows the necessary ingredients of winning to flow into your life. Others may want a more workable statement of intent, like, quote, to successfully utilize the tools of winning, unquote. However, your declaration of intent isn't stated, your work is now to find and magnify better feeling cognitions, that is, better feeling thoughts, imaginings, perceptions, rationale, or logic. Your number one competition is yourself, your own thoughts, ideas, logic, and other cognitive activities. Life and competition bring up cognitive emotional reprocessing challenges. A boat cuts me off at a mark rounding. The spinnaker douse ends up in the lake. I am on the wrong side of a windshift, and on and on. Rather than extending and continuing the problem, the challenge now is to find a better feeling thought. The rationale and ideology for this was covered in part 1, chapters 1 through 4. Every sport and life itself presents a situation and circumstances that are both wanted and desired or not wanted and desired. If a thought or cognition doesn't feel good, it's not. The work is to reprocess, reorganize, and restructure cognitive activities so that they do feel good. Part of this reprocessing may be to redefine your intentions into a workable structure where positive, good feeling, emotions, moods, attitudes, and feelings that signify health, well-being, and success are attainable. What is the process of effective and successful actualization in the quantum universe of the Tao using your personal power of Qi? First, think it. That is, define what you're trying to do. What is your intent? In skiing, what is your intent at the entrance, rounding, and exit of each gate? In sailing, what is your intent when you douse the chute? Or in golf, when you want to have the ball hit the green so many feet below the pin? Your intent may be working with one segment of time, like a shot to the 17th green, or as in alpine ski racing, an accumulation of multiple segments. In a slalom course, there may be 60 gates, each with its own set of intentions for the entrance, rounding, and exit. Hopefully, practice has made an athlete proficient in the mechanics of their sport, but I question if the mechanics have become just a reflex lacking intent. It is important that a basketball player have a moment, no matter how instantaneous, to establish their intent when taking a shot or passing the ball to a teammate. Each sport has its own segment of time where an athlete's intent must be clear, precise, and well thought out. Some segments of time require a timeout within the competition to clarify the importance of this moment's intention and to reestablish the players' and teams' empowered cognitive emotional state of being. Number 2, feel it. The work is to find the emotional good feelings of your intentions. There may be a multitude of mechanical processes involved in a single intention, but they all can be summarized with one feeling. Again, alpine ski racing is an accumulation of intentions, but all of these can be distilled into good feeling or bad feeling emotions, moods, attitudes, and feelings. And remember, good feelings cognitions correlate with empowerment, and bad feeling cognitions correlate with disempowerment. Number 3, know you know it. This is a cognitive emotional state of being combining think it and feel it that best translates into I know it. In alpine skiing, for example, at each gate for the race as a whole, there must be a silent cognitive emotional assurance and confidence of success, a silent cognitive emotional awareness that I know it will work. I will find success, that I know the correct procedure, path, or maneuver. When archery is first taught in Japan, the target is very close so that the students focus on their cognitive emotional knowing, feeling, and flow of their movement in time and space, rather than on the outcome of their movement. Number 4, allow it. A basketball player allows the shot to happen from an empowered, good-feeling place. An alpine skier releases themselves to the race from an empowered, good-feeling place. A gymnast or acrobatic skier allows their routine to flow out of them from a silent, good-feeling place of confident knowing. Some sports, like golf, allow more time for a pre-shot rehearsal to feel and allow the natural, automatic, and fluid shot to happen. But in other sports, these preparation activities must become their own feels-good, reflexive acts in the heat of the moment. And it will happen. Again, using alpine skiing, let each gate rounding and race happen from the silent place of quiet knowing, confidence, and assurance of success. Think of the cognitive emotional state of being that must exist in acrobatic skiing, either on skis or on a snowboard, to launch yourself 20, 30, even 50 feet into the air, to twist, twirl, and spin multiple different ways, and then land on your feet. Those kids put basketball players on the free throw line to shame. Their routine can never become a habit. Shooting baskets cannot become a habit. The habit is to following through the 5-step actualization process at reflexive speeds. Do you now comprehend the importance of part 1, cognitive emotional reprocessing dynamic understandings and utilizing cognitive emotional awareness and being for health, well-being, and effective and decision-making prowess and their actualization? There's a reason to learn the multitude of tactics and maneuvers in the playbook of success, to justify your intuition. Champions in sport or in life prevail because their cognitive emotional projection of reality becomes dominant and prohibits the competition from seeing the reality of their own success. The cognitive emotional field around each individual is magnified by a team harmony and synergy, and it is the team that creates the greatest and most dominant cognitive emotional field of success that brings together and rendezvous with the circumstances of success. The outcome of a competition or conflict in life itself matches the cognitive emotional state of being of the victor and the loser. The play of the game is just an opportunity to determine who has the greater capacity to remain in which state. The question is no longer about how to play the cards that are dealt, but what cards does an individual want to be dealt to play with? The more joyous the feeling, the more harmonious and powerful the wonders revealed through life's journey. All things being equal, the athlete who builds and maintains their own cognitive emotional knowing and good feeling of well-being and success will win because they are allowing the events, conditions, and circumstances of their intent, desire, and wanting. Reprocessing negative feeling, emotions, moods, attitudes, and feelings means restructuring the future, past, and present rendezvous of people, places, and events within our cognitive universe of the Tao with its unlimited potentialities. Again, understanding this cognitive breakdown of time and the Tao is not necessary, but an awareness and understanding of your emotions, moods, attitudes, and feelings in relation to your desires, goals, and intentions is an absolute must. The fourth worldview. We live in a quantum universe of entangled and conscious energies that respond to our cognitive emotional state of being. Therefore, what do you want it to be? I was maybe 5 or 6 years old when Interstate 90 and 94 were being built about a mile from our farm. I fell in love with a caterpillar motor scraper. It was a real-life gigantic dinosaur roaming around the plains of Wisconsin. I was looking outside at our driveway from the upstairs window of the farmhouse. Slowly, I started seeing the black wheels of one of those magnificent beasts appear. The tires were emerging out of a mystical haze that hung over the ground. Then its enormous body began to solidify as I gazed in silent expectation. Then a thought, a simple idea came to me. It said, "This isn't right." And my prehistoric dinosaur disappeared, never to be seen again. The mind shapes reality. Emotions indicate the desirability of that shape. As in sailing and in life, the opportunity is there to enjoy. It is our responsibility to make it so. Success depends on it. Effective and successful decisions will not be actuated in a vortex of negativity. Enjoying life is necessary for physical health. Enjoying life is necessary for mental well-being. Enjoying life is necessary for effective and successful decision-making. Enjoying life is necessary for the actualization of that which is wanted, desired, and intended. I have written a couple books to further your understandings of Qi. One is The Personal Power of Qi, an athlete's evolutionary heritage of strength, speed, agility, cunning, and success. And the other is an outline, The Yin Yang of Cognitive Emotional Dynamics and the Personal Power of Qi. I want to remind you that all my material is freely available as PDFs on my websites, symbioticpsychology.com and emotionalevolution.com. When will our teachers, instructors, and coaches integrate into their curriculums a cognitive emotional reprocessing health education and training program? Cognitive emotional reprocessing health education is a must in education, social services, mental health, and criminal justice reform. Why are gun manufacturers being held accountable for society's lack of cognitive emotional reprocessing education that is necessary for individual health, well-being, and successful and effective decision-making and their actualization? The greatness of human life experience emerges from the flames of individual desire arising out of hell's fiery conflicts on earth. Intention is forged in these fires. Emotions align our journey with these new intentions. Each succeeding generation will have its own mountains to climb and waters to cross with their own stars to navigate towards. Intent is that guiding star, and our emotions perceive its light. The more joyous the feeling, the more harmonious and powerful the wonders revealed through life's journey. Bruce Lee never resolved the emotional dissonance brought on by the conflicts within his mind, and thus was never able to move beyond the confines of a physical universe and become the master he so desired to be. There is a Tao saying, "He who can describe the Tao does not know it, and he who knows the Tao cannot describe it." But the Tao is part of our culture, and we have come up with words to describe it, such as luck, mojo, energy, momentum, in the zone, feeling it, swag, and desire, wanting, and intention, and many more. An individual's outward reality and experience are but a reflection of their inner cognitive emotional being. I was on the 12-hour night shift as a cutter operator harvesting green peas for Damani Foods. Pea harvest has since changed, but then I was cutting pea vines into a roll for the combines that would follow. The night was cold and rainy, but not wet enough to shut down the harvest, although there was enough mud and rocks to ruin my machine. The more frustrated I got, the more rocks I hit, the more my cutter had breaking blades. Then I would have to position myself in the rain, on the mud, and under the cutter head to replace the broken blades. As night wore on, I broke more and more blades, and I went from frustration to anger to downright disgust at the cold, wet night as I went down in the mud to change another blade. Through all this, I noticed my fellow coworker, who was also running a cutter. No matter what the conditions, he was always in a good humor. He may not have had to change a blade that night, but I doubt it. Enjoying life is necessary for the actualization of that which is wanted, desired, and intended. If an athlete or coach wants, desires, and intends to succeed in sports competition and to have a successful world-class performance, they must enjoy themselves. For within their joy lies the conscious energy of Qi that radiates out through time and space, the past and future, and molds, shapes, and transforms the amorphous soup of potentialities of the Tao into the team's experience in the present. The mind shapes reality. Emotions indicate the desirability of that shape. When joy and good feelings permeate your life, practice, and competition, good things happen. I wish you all a successful and joyous life. It is all there for you to enjoy and to make whatever you desire, want, and intend. Namaste.